Direct from Foxborough, Massachusetts, the gem of Norfolk County, and taped at the studios of Foxborough Cable Access. It's Foxborough Central. And here's your host, Bob Hickey.
And welcome to a special election edition of Foxborough Central. I am Bob Hickey, your host, thanking you for taking a little bit of time to join me and my guests as we talk about, well, the elections here in Foxborough. And I'm honored to be joined by our friend Lorraine Brue. Lorraine, thank you so much for joining us today on Cable Access.
Thanks for having me, Bob.
And Lorraine, of course, is our Selectman Chairman this year, and this leads to the obvious question of, wow, that's a lot of work, and you've been doing this now. This will be your third term that you're running for?
6 years.
Fantastic.
On the board now.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for your service. I know that sometimes the slings and arrows seem like a bit much, but it's always the important thing to keep focused on the fact that it's good community service, and our town needs caring, strong individuals who know their stuff and are not afraid to put themselves out there. So a lot of credit to you for all that you've been doing. And I suppose we're here today to talk about why you want to do this again for another 3 years and why folks at home should want to have you do it. So first of all, I'll let you have a chance, and then what we'll do when we come back is I'll give all your information, and then we'll start talking some issues. Fair enough?
Fair enough. Thanks, Bob.
Absolutely.
So the reason I'm running again is, number one, I love Foxborough. I love living here. The past 6 years on the board have been very productive, full of change, exciting. But I think right now, even though there's not really any polarizing issue that we're talking about this election season, I think Foxborough is really at an important point in terms of development, and the future direction of the town, I think, is being formed through our master planning process. So I want to continue to be involved in that, and I think I can bring some good understanding of that direction, and just a willingness to learn and make sure that everyone's needs are met, really, as part of that process.
So before I gave all the information about how to get a hold of you, and you're easily accessible, I've gotten a hold of you before, in addition to standing in line at the Cumberland Farms and bumping into you and seeing your son on the baseball diamond. Right. By the way, how's your family?
Doing very well. Alex is graduating from college in a couple weeks, and John's a sophomore in University of Hartford down in Connecticut.
Sophomore already, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, congratulations on that. That's a lot of work. Of course, now that they're in college, you've got all this tremendous amount of time to be a selectman because there's nothing else going on. It's only 2 hours every other week, right?
20 minutes.
20 minutes. All right. Well, of course, that's our inside joke. We all know that being a selectman is a wicked tough job because you have to learn so much and you have to become really a subject matter expert on so many different things. And there's no real selectman school that you go to. So it's really all experience. So good for you for wanting to run again. So as you want to run again, let's talk about some of the burning things that you want to accomplish in your next term should you be reelected. And one of them, of course, it's got to be, as we just talked about at the beginning, the master plan.
That's right, Bob. I think the master plan is really important to the town. We're fortunate that the planning board, along with Sharon Wasson, has been leading this effort since 2012, and it's really made significant progress. It's evolved over time. This is not something that they just created and gets put on a shelf somewhere. This is going to be a living document. And they've had numerous forums to have residents input, and from that have come up with different proposals for development in different areas of town, different growth nodes, for example, with the idea that what we really want, what the town really wants to accomplish, what the residents really want, is to have an expansion of our commercial tax base. So,
expansion of the commercial tax base, in addition to the obvious economic driver of jobs and additional revenue, particularly in a town such as Foxborough, is a huge insurance policy against the ups and downs of the economy. And as a member of our selectmen, you could probably even tell us, and in fact I wish you would, with the latest downturn, the Commonwealth is way behind in their tax revenue receipts, but I understand that Governor Baker just made sure that the release to the communities of the funding occurred. And so there had been some question as to whether the state was going to fully fund their 2014-2015 liabilities to local aid. So I'm glad they did.
That's right.
But we don't hear a lot about it because I think we're in one of those really good positions where we have this phenomenal economic growth and we have this above and beyond the Proposition 2.5 increased levy to allow us to sort of not pay as much attention to some of our neighboring communities.
Well, I think,
and a lot of credit, by the way, to finish, goes to the Board of Selectmen for creating an environment of growth.
well, I think another really important part of that also, Bob, is that we run the town very conservatively from a financial standpoint. You know, we regenerate free cash every year in advance to make sure that we can provide the level of services that we have and maintain them. So we are very fortunate that it's a combination of our good commercial tax base plus the fact that there's very conservative financial management thanks to our town manager and Randy Scollins, finance director, plus a long history before they were here of managing in that way.
Of course, you were a member of the AdCom, and so the advisory committee, I'm sorry, and so you even have 4 years of experience before you became a member of the Board of Selectmen. Right. So really for the last 10 years, you've been front and center in the budget battles. And I remember,
right.
Going to nose to nose with you as we talked about budget, but really with all the people who are involved, it's just a passionate giving to the community. And so again, so much credit to you and for all the others who volunteer. But with the budget, it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's something that we can't take for granted. And you
Absolutely
touched
not.
upon the
Absolutely
master
not.
plan as far as where do we want to see ourselves 10, 15, 20 years down the road. And that's
right.
why it's such a key document.
That's right. And I think that's why it's so important for our residents to really participate in the process. And also, there's some really interesting documents on the website. They have 4 position papers. One I think is really interesting. It's called Healthy Foxborough. And it was really eye-opening to me to see that Foxborough's health is not up to par with the average for the state in terms of, for example, the number of heart attacks or the number of people with high cholesterol.
Really?
They established these they identified these different factors, and so it really points to the fact that part of what we need to look at is making available more resources for people of all ages to be able to get out there and exercise more and
Isn't that interesting?
make themselves healthier. And so that was just one small piece of it. They also have a position paper on land use and again, how it really is the desire of the residents to keep our New England charm and our character, but also, again, in the right places, in those different growth nodes like Foxfield, the downtown, Chestnut Green, and Route 1, to make sure that we can continue to grow in those areas.
You bring up an excellent point because those growth nodes, and I like the term growth nodes, and by the way, I appreciate giving a shout out to Sharon Wasson as well, and including the online surveys and the fact that they were putting in the newspaper, the local Foxborough Reporter, on a weekly basis for feedback and looking for citizen participation.
Right.
So it shows that it's an all-encompassing document, and they have been doing a good job of outreach to the planning board. And, so that was very nice to see. And not every town government is quite as transparent or as outreaching as they are. So lots of credit there. So let's talk about growth nodes. And I keep going back to the Hanover Company coming in and building a 40B development, our last buildable tract in the Foxborough Industrial Park, and that was part of the master plan that's being revised. And so it does have to be a living document as far as being updated and showing, all right, where are we now and where do we want to be 25 years from now? So you mentioned downtown, of course, that will have an opportunity for growth with
Looking forward to getting sewer in there.
Yes.
Once we have sewer in there, there can be activities with the fire station. We should be able to make some progress with that and, again, open up opportunities for as the plan is calling for more variety of businesses, we'll be able to look at possibilities downtown.
We might even have a laundromat. Oh.
Exactly. So that would be great.
So with the potential for service, so where are we at with that? I know that there have been some meetings. The selectmen, I saw it on the agenda, and I watched a couple nights. And of course, the beauty of Foxborough Cable Access is that we tape your programs, and people can go back and watch them over again on fcatv.org, where you can also catch back episodes of Foxborough Central. Shameless plug for me, but with that, in a 2-second nutshell, where are we at with sewer?
We are in great shape with the Water and Sewer Commissioners having signed the IMA with intermunicipal agreement with Mansfield and Norton.
Now that's a long time coming, because I remember back when I was on the board and Representative Jay Barrows was trying to get the legislation written and passed to allow that. So that's been a long, and you've been on the board for 6 years, so your entire time on there, you've been working on this.
Yeah,
so
Jay did a great job.
It's got to be nice to see that come to fruition and really get the ball moving. So congratulations on that.
Well, the Water and Sewer Commissioners deserve the congratulations on that. And everyone supported them, and I think, so now we have flow available and need to work to support them to be able to get that flow to the right places. Mm-hmm. So again, that all becomes part of that larger plan that we are looking for citizens to volunteer for, to work on things like how are we going to get sewer to these different places, these different development nodes is one thing. But, you know, so much of it ties into the budget. I think having come through advisory committee, that's really an important place where you really learn all the basics of how the town government works and how the finances of the town work. Mm-hmm. So I think having that has been very helpful for me to be able to understand and try and contribute, hopefully, to the success of the town.
Well,
so
we'll call it 10 years of experience, and that's why people should be excited about your candidacy and should come out to vote on May 4th at the Ahern Middle School. Don't forget to do that. Polls open at 7 a.m., close at 8 p.m., and I know you'll join us right back here in Foxborough Cable Access as I bring you live election results. So you don't have to wait and read about it in the paper. You can watch it live on your favorite Foxborough Cable Access channel. That night we'll also have an opportunity to talk with candidates and also with the advisory committee as we get ready for the upcoming town meeting the following Monday. So when we have a chance, and I'm talking with Lorraine Brue, who is chairman of our Board of Selectmen this year. How are you enjoying the year as chairman?
Great, really great. Big year of transition. We have a new management team, new town council. We've accomplished a lot and are very fortunate to have the team that we have now.
If I can just say, and you know, unbidden, but I think you made a wonderful choice in our town manager. I cannot think of an individual more engaging and more professional and more knowledgeable than in such a short time than Bill Keegan. So congratulations on that. That was definitely as they would say, a good hire. So thank you on behalf of just being a taxpayer. Thank you very much for that. So let's talk about some other issues. One that, speaking of Town Hall. What's going on with Town Hall?
Well, Town Hall, great progress is being made there too. As you know, there was a group formed which was led by Bill Keegan, and one of our selectmen, David Fellman, had participated in that along with other town employees and private citizens. And they looked at all the versions that had been studied in the past and came up with pros and cons for locations, for building size, and really vetted the whole concept thoroughly, and were able to address the many concerns that had been raised by citizens in the past about the size. Came back with a proposal for a smaller size building, downsized to really address the concerns that had been raised, and I think they did a great job. And as a result, we were able to get approval at town meeting to fund the actual design.
The design work, right? Yep.
The actual design work, and come up with actual plans to go out to bid, so that the next step will be we will find out what it will actually cost to build this building.
So that the voters can make an informed decision.
That's right. And this is very different from other building projects that have happened in the town, because this part of it usually is done after the approval happens. So this will be an actual cost that's being voted on. Naturally, there'll be contingencies, but it won't be as much off the mark, potentially, if you want to call it that way, as some of the other projects have been.
Well, the Permanent Municipal Building Committee and Bill Yegner have done a great job of putting that all together for you and for the town as a whole. So That is great news. Of course, I'm speaking with Lorraine Brue, and we're so out of time. It's unbelievable how quickly, because I like talking politics. You know, I'm a political junkie, so I can sit here and talk all day. But we'll give you the last word. But first, I want to remind everybody that Lorraine is running for re-election to your Board of Selectmen. There are 2 seats. She has one of them, and she wants it back. So you should consider going out and voting for Lorraine. You can check her out online at www.brueforselectmen.org, or you can email her with any questions, comments, thoughts, praise, donations, host a coffee, all the good things that go into running a campaign, right?
Yeah.
And you can do that at lbrue, and the number 1, lbrue1 at verizon.net, or you can always call her. And I've seen this on the town website, so she's not afraid to answer your calls at 508-543-5546. Lorraine, thank you so much for taking the time, and I want to give you the opportunity for the last word.
Great. Thanks, Bob. I just want to ask all the viewers, all the voters in Foxborough to please come out on Monday, May 4th. I'd be honored if you would vote for me to re-elect me to the board. I believe that I've shown a track record of my commitment to the town and to the residents. That always comes first they always come first for me. And I've worked hard to really learn in depth about the issues that are facing our town. So again, I appreciate your vote and look forward to seeing you at the polls. Thank you.
And thank you, Lorraine, for taking the time to come join us here in Foxborough Central. On behalf of all the volunteers at FCA TV, we'd like to thank you for watching, and we hope you'll join us again. If you missed any part of this program, feel free to look us back up on the web at www.fcatv.org. Click on the videos link, click on Foxborough Central, and you can see us and see all about Lorraine. Thank you very much, and have a great day, Foxborough.